To attempt to sew home my button on my vest. So bring y'all along. Don't laugh at me. I learned a few things watching my great group. Everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Traveling Gun. Today is my last trip of 2020. I have a 4-day trip. I'm starting at 7:30 this morning. I'm sitting in the jet bridge waiting for the cleaners to finish cleaning the plane. You don't want to be on there when they're fogging, so I have 3 legs today. I do an Asheville turn and then I end up in Gainesville tonight. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on once I get to Gainesville.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I have made it to my room here in Gainesville today. Very uneventful. Nothing went on today. But besides, I lost a button because my jacket got caught on to one of the Atlas and it ripped the button off. So I'm gonna have to walk over here to Target to see if they have like a needle and thread, kind of little small kit, just so I can sew that back on, so I can be able to button up my, actually it's on my vest, to be able to button up my vest. And pretty much that's really it. We're counting down from 2020 to 2021, and I wish I could have, well, I wouldn't have done it because New Year's Day is when I get paid for time and a half. And I try to tell people how you can maximize on, you know, making more money. I would have swapped out my trips to have longer turns versus the short one, but that's my go home day, so I'm not going to extend my go home day. Now, had it been the start of a trip, then I probably would have, but excuse me. A lot of stuff is being added in open time for 200%, and that way you still could have picked up 200% on top of holiday pay. With that, you could, it's ways to maximize it, but I wasn't finished extend my go home day on New Year's Day, so it is what it is. Kind of like what I tried to do on Christmas, but there was nothing in open time for me on Christmas. So, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Target and find some needle and thread so I can do that. I brought my food with me, you know, mostly just vegetables. Like I love vegetables a lot. Like I use my Instant Pot to make some green beans and smoked turkey necks and spinach and like Alfredo sauce, and what else do I have? I have something else, I just can't think of what it is right now. But the problem with this hotel is there's no microwave in the room. It's one downstairs in the lobby, so I have to go back downstairs to do it because it's too early for me to eat right now. But I'll see you guys a little bit later on, once I go to Target, and hopefully I might show y'all me sewing. I'm not the greatest, but I can do a little something. So I'll see you guys a little bit later. Good morning, everybody. Today is day 2 of 4 for me, and it's going on about 5:30 this morning. I have 2 legs today: Gainesville to Atlanta, Atlanta to Oklahoma City, no sits in between. It's supposed to be snowing in Oklahoma City today. Hopefully it is. I like the snow, and I will probably go outside and play in the snow a little bit if it's not the like wet, rainy snow. So last night I did go to Target. So they do have the sewing kit. I just did it around the sewing on the button. I'll do that today since I do have a lot more time. I was just doing a lot of other things that I needed to do, and that's about it. Last night I slept really well. The beds here are comfortable. Like a lot of the hotels that we do stay in, the beds are pretty much comfortable. Like I don't have an issue with falling asleep, with the exception of, like, say for instance, I just can't get comfortable, because this just happens sometimes. You just can't get comfortable, even in your own bed sometimes at home. But for the most part, our hotel beds are pretty comfortable. Some may be too soft, some may be too hard, but for the most part, they're comfortable. But other than that, I'll see you guys a little bit later on once I get to Oklahoma City, and if the weather is too bad, they may delay or cancel, so I'm not for sure, but I'll keep you guys updated. Good morning still, everybody. So I made it here to my hotel room in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is actually my first time staying here in Oklahoma City. We've never had layovers. We've only had turns. So this is my very first time staying here. It's not snowing. So kind of disappointed about that. And supposedly it's not supposed to snow today at all. So it's supposed to snow tomorrow, but not today. It's just gonna rain today. Today only had kind of one sort of minor issue. So we were coming from Gainesville, and a lady got on with her service dog, and I was looking to try to see where she was sitting. So she sat in the exit row with her service dog, and I was like, wait a minute, why would the gate agent put a service dog in the exit row? Which that's a no-no, because you can't have anything blocking the exit row. So a service dog would be blocking the exit row to be able to get out if we had an emergency. So I would have had to move her. But luckily she knew in her mind that she knew that she was not supposed to be sitting there, because she came to the back and was like, hey, I don't think I'm supposed to be sitting here with a service dog. And I was like, no, you're not. But I was like, we're just gonna wait till everybody board, and then I end up moving you to another seat. So we had a lot of infants on our flight, like even, little small hand, like arm babies, and then we had smaller children. So it looked like more than what normally came on. So I had to count them again, because normally the 900s only stock with 5 infant life vests. That basically for children that are 35 pounds and under. And if we would have had one more, because we had 6, but luckily we had 6 life vests on board. Now, if we didn't have 6, somebody would have had to stay, because, or unless they would have gotten it from somewhere, I don't know for sure. But we were at an outstation. I know in base, all we would have called was the maintenance and said, hey, we need another infant life vest, and they would have brought it. But that issue was, because I was like, wait a minute, we have too many little kids on here that definitely look like they're under 35 pounds. But other than that, that is all that happened. I did not sew my button on yesterday because I had like I said, I had a lot of things to do. So I'm gonna do that today here in Oklahoma City, since I have a lot of time, and do some editing on my year-end review vlog video that's supposed to drop tomorrow. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on. So what's up, everybody? So now I have my needle and thread put in together. I'm going to attempt to sew home my button on my vest. So bring y'all along. Don't laugh at me. I learned a few things watching my great grandmother sew things. So it's been a while since I've had to sew anything. So it might take me a while just to sew on a button, because I don't do this on an everyday basis. So let's see it. and I saw the pilots with their luggage, and I was wondering, like, why did they have it since they were going back to Atlanta with me? So apparently they broke something on the plane. We're delayed for 3 hours. We're supposed to leave at 1:55. We're not scheduled to leave until 4:05, and they're flying a plane in from Indianapolis for us to take back to Atlanta, and then they took off my overnight to Chattanooga. So as of now, I'll be spending New Year's Eve at home. So that's a good thing that I would get this, but they can always change it on my way back, just depending on, you know, how everything goes. They can always change it. But I'll see you guys a little bit later on for another update. Good morning everybody, how you doing today? So I'm back for day 4 of my 4-day trip. I got canceled in base, so I went home last night, back up here this morning at 7:30. They changed my schedule. I was supposed to do an Oklahoma City turn, but now I'm just going to Greensboro, Spartanburg, which is in South Carolina, which that's a shorter flight, but I still get paid for the Oklahoma City turn and my overnight, everything else that I missed. And I end up getting home 2 hours early, so that's good for me, but I sit for 2 hours in Greensboro, Spartanburg Airport, and then I head back home. So pretty easy day for me. The last time I was here was last year, and I had Chadwick Boseman on my flight. But once I get to Spartanburg, I'll talk to you all some more just to let you know everything that happened. So I made it here to Greensboro, Spartanburg. So I have this 2-hour sit. So it was crazy that the flight that we brought in, it was immediately going back out. So I called crew scheduling and say, hey, why can't I get on this versus sitting 2 hours just to head back? And of course, they told me to stay on my parent because for the simple fact of I'm still on time available once I get there until like 2:45. So they can possibly use me again or add something to my schedule. So I think that's the reason why they told me to stay on my parent. But normally I would have just got on that flight, but it was too late for me to list myself as far as non-resident, so crew scheduling had to put me there. But since I was supposed to do the Oklahoma City turn, I was supposed to stay overnight, I still get paid for that because we are pay protected from that. So it's no fault of mine, so I still get paid. I still get paid the same amount of hours I was originally, and still get my time and a half for working on New Year's Day. So now I have to sit here for 2.5 hours, watch TV or something on Netflix, and then I just head back home, and then I'm done and I'm off for a couple of days. So I'll see you guys a little bit later on. Hello everybody, so I made it to my car here. That concludes my trip for my last trip of 2020. Even though it is New Year's Day, it's still considered part of 2020. I was on time available from 1:47 to about 2:47, but how it is with our company on the rule is if they haven't already added something to you by the time you've landed, you can just go ahead and go home. They're not going to add anything, and there's not too many flights going out that can get me back by the time I'm supposed to originally end my trip. So I am going home. It's 2 hours earlier, and I'm still getting paid for what I was originally supposed to work before my schedule changed. So hopefully everybody has a happy, prosperous New Year. Health, wealth, whatever it is that you want to happen this year, I hope that it manifests and it comes into fruition for you all. Until my next trip, I'll see you guys later.